Welcome to 10 for 10, a series of interviews with personalities and dedicated leaders across the Major Arena Soccer League. I'm your host, Erik Bergrud. For this week's episode, I'm joined by Kansas City Comets managing partner Brian Budzinski. Welcome to 10 for 10, Bud.
Erik, thanks for having me. Love being on. Anytime you and I get to do an interview, it's always fantastic. And in this format, I'm excited to have the opportunity with you.
Thank you. Let's get started. So long before becoming the Kansas City Comets managing partner, you were a young fan. What are your earliest Comets memories?
Oh, Erik. That's an easy one right off the bat. The orange and black soccer ball, running around the top of Kemper Arena, kicking it, against the concrete walls with 15,000 people, going crazy below you. That's an easy one for me, Erik. That is a core memory in my life.
As you know, Kansas City likes to refer to itself as the soccer capital of America. What role have the Comets played historically in the evolution of the game in your community?
Yeah, I think it's interesting how you worded that question. You said Kansas City likes to call itself the soccer capital of the world. I think the entire country knows that Kansas City is the soccer capital of the world. But I think, listen, the Comets from very early days, obviously selling out Kemper Arena, being so prominent in this community that they drove an NBA franchise out because they outdrew them. The Lewicki's, are basically took their model of what Kansas City Comets soccer was and took that to the NBA. You coupled that with the end of the Bird and Magic era and the beginning of the Michael Jordan era, and the NBA became, quite frankly, what the MASL was, from a Comets perspective. And so, I think the Comets back in the day were what got started, in this community. The Wizards kind of took the next, step for it. Then they became Sporting, selling out Children's Mercy Park, winning championships. And then we had FC Kansas City launching NWSL. And then now you have the KC Current having the first, women's built for-purpose, stadium in the world. It's easy for Kansas City to make stake, as the soccer capital of the world.
On a maybe a more delicate subject, the Comets came up just short in last year's playoffs, losing to Chihuahua in the finals. From your perspective as the managing partner, can you assess the overall performance of the team and the coaching staff during the 23-24 season?
Yeah, listen, I think Chihuahua was a very talented squad. I think our team was a very talented squad. I think Coach Stefan Stokic did a fantastic job in his first year. But he was, the reason he did a fantastic job is because he was prepared. That being said, the goals here in Kansas City are to win championships. And so what we did is in the offseason, we went and addressed what we felt were some key points to try to put ourselves in a position. Chihuahua was a tough place to play, as everybody in the league knows. I have some opinions about their arena that I will not share on 10 for 10. But I feel as though we're better prepared to handle that challenge. And I'm looking forward to when our team plays against them this season down in, Cornersport Arena.
As you well know, Comets fans are extremely loyal to their players, and some have vocalized their displeasure regarding roster moves in recent years. The initial reaction following the trade of 3 players for Zach Reggett comes to mind. As managing partner, how do you approach maintaining fan enthusiasm when you make decisions that might not be universally popular?
Erik, that's a great question, actually. I will give you a real short answer is that if people aren't talking about you, then that's the problem. So the fact that our fans get upset with who we trade or who we bring in or any of that, it's because we're relevant and we're important to them. Our players are important to them. And they've created memories for them, right? And so they become attached. And so, if you're not being talked about, then you probably should be more worried about it. In that particular situation there with that trade that we did, we felt that we needed to to bring in what we felt was a premier goal scorer in our league, and we had an opportunity to do that, and we did, and the rest has been history.
Comets players from each line, goalkeeper, defense, midfield, and forward, were selected to participate in the 2025 MASL All-Star Game in Utica on February 12th. What does that say about the quality of your current roster?
Well, listen, personally, I'm proud of our guys. I think we have a really good team, and I think every club says they have a good team. We've got a great locker room. Our guys battle for each other, but I think it shows the respect that our players have earned across the league, right? I think you look at what guys have done previously, and which would be a track record, like a Zach Reggett or a Nicolau Neto or Chad Vandegrift, and then you look at a young guy like a Leo Acosta, that gets picked. Shows that we've got the balance of both, what people have done over the course of the years, and then, up and coming as well.
Throughout this season, we're exploring topics related to the business of indoor soccer. In addition to your role with the Comets, you own the world famous Kansas City Soccer Dome, where you are today, and are heavily involved in youth soccer teams and facilities. What advice would you give a viewer interested in pursuing a soccer business career?
Well, the first thing I would give them, Eric, is don't plan on getting a lot of sleep. The second, I was planning on getting some gray hairs and losing some hairs as well. Listen, I'm blessed that I get to work in something I absolutely love on a day-to-day basis. I get to come into as you said, the world famous Kansas City Soccer Dome, which I appreciate you anointing, and it's kind of makes a lot of sense, to be honest with you. But I get to come in, I get to watch the Comets train. I get to watch my kids play soccer on the same field that the professionals train at. I get to watch, as our community, people, siblings and younger kids, they get to grow up where mom and dad used to play. So all those things are really, I've been blessed to been able to do that. What I would just basically say to anybody that wants to get into that business is, walk in the front door, say you will do any job at whether it's the KC Current or Sporting or the Comets or LAFC or Empire Strikers or San Diego Sockers. Walk in the front door, say you'll do any job, and learn, right? And then if you are a good person, you have a good work ethic, you'll find your way all the way up to the top. Hard work and work ethic will get anybody anywhere. I'm a firm believer in that.
The Comets have led the MASL in attendance over the last several seasons. What has been the secret sauce in filling Cable Dahmer Arena?
Well, the secret sauce is real simple. It's our staff, right? We have a staff member that's been with us for all 15 years. We have a staff member that's been with us close to a decade. We have other staff members that are not full time, but people like a Nick Vassos that has been there before, since when I was a kid, right? He's been calling games, into our production crew, like yourself. Brad Zimmerman's been with us the whole entire time in his group. So it's having good people, Eric, and empowering your staff, letting them, make outbound sales calls, right? Like the days people think that just posting things on social media and that kind of stuff is going to bring fans in. It's not. You got to make outbound sales calls. You got to get out in the community. You got to go to Chamber of Commerce meetings. You got to do all these things, and you got to be immersed in your community. You got to work it. And then the last thing I will say is you got to build trust with fans. And trust, we speak a lot about this, and the trust is this. Does a family of four, a mom and dad, do they trust the Kansas City Comets with their hard-earned money to be season ticket holders? Is the product on the field going to be good? Is the arena going to be professional? Is the production going to be professional? Is it going to be entertaining? Is my family going to have fun? Is it going to be safe? All those things are part of trust. And we've worked really, really hard to gain the trust of Kansas City people. And I feel that they've showed out, and that's why we've led the league in attendance.
Final question. What is it going to take to win the Ron Newman Cup this season?
What's it going to take? It's going to take a little bit of luck. It's going to take good health. And then if you're asking specifically for the Comets, that's the answer for the Comets, right? I think a little bit of luck, and I think good health. We feel that we're in a good position. I think every team needs a little bit of luck, that has to happen here or there. but you need to be in a good form, and you obviously need the players. You need the talent. In Kansas City, I think that we've got all three of those things. And we'll see how it goes, April 4th to the 6th at Front Wave Arena.
Thank you, Bud, for joining us today. We'll be back next week with another episode of 10 for 10.